So, but you can not for me, with consistency, we're able to build something that other people can see and be inspired by. I'm passionate about job creation. And one of the reasons I'm in agric is because I believe agric is probably the only industry that can accommodate everybody. Okay. Directly and indirectly, putting food on thousands stable every day. So that's inspiring. Okay.
Hope you can see the resemblance, huh?
Yes.
The boss.
Okay, so we're introducing ourselves as the speakers. Okay, let's use your dog. Let's
Just introduce yourself and then share a few things to inspire the people. We have most audience here and more are still coming just because it's running who are not part of the retreats. And I just wanted to have a feel of the speakers we brought for the retreats, who you are, what you do, and any word of encouragement.
Thank God. Before you give me mic to pledge money. All right, so good afternoon once again. It's amazing. This is my first time here in this town. Courtesy of Dr. Stephen. Let's put our hands together. Yeah, so like for a few people who were here yesterday, I'm a business and management consultant. What that means in terms that will help people start up businesses and that will help already existing businesses, whether they are struggling or not, to scale. I believe everybody can do more. Most of us are like Ferraris that are driving 20 kilometers per hour. If only you know that your car can do 220, 300 kilometers per hour, you will be going with speed. Like I said yesterday, on the last day, the person you are will be introduced to you by the person you could have been, can all be more. So my life's ambition and my life central ideology is to let people be more, do more, and have more. And I've summed up all of that into 4 key things that you must get right. One, there must be a culture, an extreme culture. People were here yesterday, we spoke about it yesterday. There are so many. I spent the last 15 years reading, teaching, and I've come to sum up everything I know in just 4 words. Just 4 words, and I'm not saying it for lack of words, but for the summary of all the words that I've ever been written. A 1-hour conversation. And 1-hour conversation is almost, we transcribe it, right? It's about 80 pages. And I've had a lot of 1 hours. And I've come to sum up life, the road to growth, with just 4 things you must get right. 4 things you must get right. First, in the culture of ownership. Everybody in Africa thinks that there's somebody else that will help and themselves. Matter of Africa, I come from a country, Nigeria, where people are trying to break out of Nigeria and they go to UK. Go and tell the UK to break out of Nigeria. That's how much they think that they need to go to people. But we all hope for someone higher, someone different apart from us. The change is real. Once you see anybody that takes ownership, they say, oh, somebody take that cup away from them. And everybody's here. The guy that usually stands up to take that cup away, even if they didn't call his name, if you plot a scatter diagram mathematically over a time series, follow that guy for the next few months, for the next few years, will be successful. Because that's the mentality. And I know this for a fact, but back in our family, I'm the last child, and I look at sometimes our family tree and I see the guys who are doing better. I'm like, this thing called leadership is not a position in the family. It's people that take ownership. Sometimes they say, daddy said that one part of his house is leaking. As well drops the family group, and the person that says, oh, okay, send me a card number. You surely not the richest person, but they're the ones that go far in life. And ownership, just taking ownership, that's the first one. The second one is sense of urgency. Sense of urgency. A lot of us procrastinate too much. Yesterday, he said today. Today, he said tomorrow. You'll be shocked that many people said they'll come here today, but they won't come here. But they wanted to come.
So hold on, how many of you do not understand English? Can I see your hands up? Can someone speak that in French?
Combien de gros ne comprend pas l'anglais? So she's alone.
One. So she's the only one? Huh? Okay. Do me a favor, if you can go to the back, he will be transcribing to his that
Vous pouvez venir ici par derrière comme ça, il va vous traduire. Non, même ici, ça, c'est pas plus que là.
You are okay? No, we were going to let them say. Okay, we go.
Yeah, so I hope this has this intro, so we have 2 minutes to sum up. Like I actually got to everything. So what do I get? One fucking ownership, take ownership. Africa and Nigeria, I don't know if Cameroon is too different, but most West African countries, this year I've been to at least 6 African countries or so. And they are no difference. Nigeria, Sierra Leone, Cameroon, Ghana, very alike. Matter of fact, put them on the room, something can differentiate them. Right, I was telling someone that Cameroon is more Nigerian than Zamfara. Cameroon is more Nigerian to a lot of us. In terms of look at how we behave and how we act, than Zamfara is Nigeria. The only reason why there's Cameroon and Nigeria because self-interest of Portuguese, French, and English. They sat down and looked at us. I got to read the book How Europe Underdeveloped Africa. And like literally a cake that they cut and say, look, for us to have peace, you take this path, right? Cameroon and Nigeria are actually one country. You just map that you use, right? So, and so when I talk about Nigeria, I know that I was talking about Cameroon. Everybody in Nigeria goes around with the mentality of what is in it for me. But the main thing is what is in me for it. Does it make sense?
Yes.
What is in it for me? Popular thinking. Everybody says what is in it for me. But the actual secret of growth is what is in me for it. What is in me for it? This problem, what is in me that I use to solve this problem? But every time you solve a problem, you create the SI units of success, which is value. The SI units. You guys know what SI units is, right? So, the second thing, so ownership. The second thing I talk about what? Budget. Do it now. Do it afraid. Do it shy. Right? Do it sometimes being tacky. Everybody's first work was tacky. Picasso's first artwork wasn't great. Da Vinci's first work wasn't Mona Lisa. The Davido's first song, if he hears it like say turn it down, turn it down, turn it down, turn it down. Whose voice is this? Right? I was reading something about John Legend. You guys know the artist John Legend? Right. He spoke on my first speech. He went to speak at an event. I think it was commencement speech for a university that he had gone there a few years ago to sing. His name is really John Stevens. Right. Cameroon school in New Jersey, New York. And when he sang, they pulled him off stage. He came back years after to do commencement speech. Who doesn't know John Legend? One of the greatest artists of our generation, multiple Grammy. Everybody's first song will sound like John Legend when he was pulled off stage. So do it now, do it afraid. Do it, just do it now. Nike gives you an idea. Just do it. Just do it. If you showed up the Stevie before and after, himself will say, when he likes it before and after, everybody's first work was done. Right? The third one is giving. I've seen the smartest people in the world. I went to Futo where people that went to Futo back then, I don't know if to change now, Futo Futa and Futo Futa. Because of all this technology, science, the only science course they did, so he had straight A's to them. That people that scored 50 out of 4 of them jam. When you guys get into Nigerian schools, one it's super smart people. I saw these smart kids who are not exactly doing better now. I saw a lecturer who disputed Einstein's theory in my university. All this peer and KK, you guys will get physics, you know, he was a lecturer. And I saw them drive Volvo and use miserable all through. And I'm like, how can you be this intelligent and not be this successful? Matter the most intelligent person on earth is still alive. His name is Krystal. If you Google him, he has the highest IQ of all time, more than Einstein, more than Edison. He's alive. You know what he's doing right now? He's outside the next block. He's the smartest person on earth, IQ. So sometimes he's not intelligent, he's not a lot of things. His spirit, the spirituality of growth is aimed on giving. You guys know the person story, it tells you everything, but if you think about it deeply, and I'm not saying this to make anything good, you know my personality. I don't have tendency, I don't have, even if I faked it, I don't know how to do things smart. I can tell you for a fact, I'm probably one of the closest person in our both lives. I can tell you the secret sauce is giving. He gives till there's nothing else left. And he's always been like that. Don't think he's giving because he has. He has because he was giving. I don't know if this sort of makes sense. See, whether they are pushing you or not pushing you, don't find somebody that gives if you are not the one giving. Do you need first? See, as God, oh God, for God to come to rescue man, he gave himself. 3:16, right? John 3:16. He could have said, I'm God, all your sins are forgiven. Even his principle was to give himself, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, which is himself, God the Son. When Mark, sound like me, but I just say it. Right, one of the guy that swore that God couldn't find anything to swear, Melchizedek, he couldn't find anything to swear on. Because it's God. You know, you can swear on God's name. What can God swear on? He couldn't find anything. Yes, so he swore on, yes, it was Abraham. And he swore on himself because he gave. Giving is the hack, is the trick, is the expo of this growth. Giving. And sometimes when money is time. Sometimes not time, it's attention. 90% of people go through depression, who have gone through depression if people give them attention. I have a help in the house going through the crisis. I had a long conference my wife today. She had a long something happened, she was caught doing something, she have told her going through a lot, right? And 3 days ago, she's very close to my wife. And my wife, she was excited about this one guy who she likes, you know. So, and the guy comes to Lagos and she takes a break. This is she and my wife. I didn't have this. She had to take a break to see man. And she was seeing the man as she went the man, she called the man. The man was on the other side of the road, she was on the other side of the road. It's not a Nigerian movie. And the white guy was crossing the road. Car hits someone that came all the way from the UHC. Car hits the guy. This was 3 days ago. Yesterday, my wife called me and said, the guy just passed. I want you to do what you said. First of all, let us take a break for walk, let us take the house. Because nobody gives this girl attention. She needs this place. Be shocked at how 90% of wars that we fought in this world were fought because there was no attention given. War, real war. Real war. You must give. If that's what you do, drop the phone and think about and watch people and do your facial expression and gesture, change them so that you're in conversation. 90% of infidelity in marriage is attention. When you say, oh, money is important, I say, guy, top 10 richest men in the world, 7 out of them are not married. Which is money. And money will be marriage. Right? And you was for the nobody you know what you do. You see who they end up with. Don't want to mention it. Jeff Bezos' wife that left, she's dating a teacher. It's not this makes sense to us. The universe is looking for attention. God, even God is asking for your attention. That's how much we correct. And then the last is excellence. Do even the most ordinary things extraordinarily well. Really, even the most ordinary things be excellent and you be tacky, you be shabby. Do it like nobody was watching you. Mama, do it like God was in front of you. Just excellent. Nigeria and Africa is filled with so much mediocrity. Our school, for you to pass, you need to score 40 to go to the next class. You know what 40 out of 100 is? That's less than average. That's what we are judging our lives on. Some people will never see anything in their life 70 out of 100, nothing. Absolutely. Most people, in anything, they will not score. Even people carry religion on their head. If you score them, if you score 70 out of 100, that's how mediocrity. So you don't even need to do much in Nigeria or in Africa to stand out. Just to be a rest above average. But the trick is, I'm not telling you to be a rest above average. That's what it takes to be noticed. Now imagine if you do more. The trick is aim for perfection. You never get there, but aim for it. That even if you land on excellence. Thank you, and God bless you. Okay, Izu, EIZU. Now follow me on Instagram. Also has motivation on his structure in case you want to structure your business. Just EIZU. Not that. EIZU, just search anywhere, LinkedIn, YouTube, EIZU.
Okay, can we clap for him? Okay, next, let's start with this one. So,
My name is Toby Faraday. I'm a journalist and a PR consultant. I'm not sure why this Stephen wants me to speak.
one of us.
So I'm not a natural speaker. I'm more of a writer. And for a lot of people who don't know, I went to school with Dr. Stephen. Yeah. I think I've known okay, sex is brother. Oh. So I'm not going to go there. I can do the thing, but so I studied English, and Dr. Stephen used to hold this this business meeting in the mornings every, I think it was Wednesday mornings. We used to hold it.
6
6 a.m. And the first test that we had to pass was that you get there at 6 a.m. Anybody that knows me knows that I'm a night crawler, and so I don't wake up early. I hate mornings. And that was the first thing I had to learn. And so if you get there early, you will get to eat breakfast. There was this one whose food was really nice close to his house that used to sell very, very, very nice rice, very early in the morning, peppered rice. The rice is great. So if you get there early, you get to eat that rice. So, and I like it. So and usually I'm always hungry in the morning because I don't like mornings. So I'll try and get there early so that I can get breakfast. And so that's the kind of relationship that we had. It was always feeding us, giving us words of wisdom, being there for us. It would appear in Dr. Stephen's house at 12 midnight and we'll open the door for you and give you everything you need and tell you everything you need. That was the kind of. And so after the school, of course, most of my professional career has been, I've done a bit of work with him. And one thing I learned with him, I became a journalist because I like to tell stories. And I also realized that people don't tell their stories enough. You allow other people to tell your stories for you. But that's one other thing that Dr. Stephen has taught me in the last 7 years, 6, 7 years. He has been telling his story consistently. And if you walk back, you can see that the story does not change. It does not change with the audience. You know, some people, some speakers, when they find the audience that can give them money, for example, they tweak the story to fit into what the audience needs to hear. But he doesn't do that. He's telling the story consistently. So that 20 years from now, when you go back and search, you can find the details that it actually used to grow. And that's what I also learned as a PR consultant. People don't tell their stories enough. They allow other people just, oh, people know now, people know. No, people do not know. For example, working in this room, we've learned that Izu is a fantastic speaker. Aside the fact that he does business structuring and all that, we've learned that about him. But somebody who didn't come in when Izu was talking, for example, would not know that about Izu. If he does not keep talking about what he does, you would think all there is to him is that, oh, that guy spoke really well, and that's all there is to it. So as business people, as people who really want to grow, telling your story is key to everything that you do. Document, tell your story. 20 years from now, let people search you on the internet and find that, yes, you were the first person that attended Dr. Stevens' event, for example. I'm not saying that that's what you should tell us. Really, telling your story is second to nothing because other people will come and tell it for you. And they tell it in a way that you will not approve of. So the best way as a person to own your narrative is to tell your story. And that's what I do. I help people tell their stories in a logical manner, in a structured manner, in a way that makes sense on paper. So that's okay.
Funny enough, it makes sense.
Good afternoon, everyone. Sorry, I came in quite late. I didn't know what was happening. Was why I asked actually what first. So my name is Shola Adishaki. I am a chartered accountant by profession, as I love to say. I qualified about 24 years ago, and I like to say that I'm an accountant in 3 continents. Yes, I'm a fellow in Nigeria, in the UK, I have CPA in Canada, and I'll tell you why I'm sharing my story. But for a better part of my career, you would think that a chartered accountant should be like, fantastic with their finances, but the reverse was the case. I was always broke. In Nigeria, 18 years ago, earning 500K per month was a big deal. Right? But I was always broke and living on IOUs, right? I was a finance manager that was taking an IOU from my subordinates. 1 week after salary was paid, no shame. Until one day you were trying to reconcile, and then one of my subordinates was like, "No, we don't have money." I'm like, "But I approved petty cash." And the person said, "Ma, you were the one that collected it." I'm like, "No, this has got to stop." Right? I took some really insane decisions that I wasn't proud of back then. And that was what led me into personal financial literacy. And I started to just learn, how can I be more useful? How can I, take my finances more seriously? I started to learn, and then when I discovered some secrets and tips, they're not secrets, it's financial literacy. I then started to teach financial literacy, set up tools and resources. So I tell people by proficiency, I'm a chartered accountant, but by passion, I'm a finance coach. And in the last 10 years, we have done quite a lot of work, not just in Nigeria, but across Africa and about 40 countries, where we continue to teach people how to make, manage, and multiply their money. I know we have some community members here. I don't know if they are here. Anybody from Swansea? I know from I thought this session was free, so I told them to join, but they will come. Now, what do I have to say? Back home, everybody's complaining, the economy is hard. Maybe in Cameroon, things like beats, okay, you guys are not experiencing any inflation, things are hunky-dory. I tell people it's a global phenomenon. If you have, not if right? If you live in the UK, you have friends in the UK, in the US, just everywhere, people are literally complaining. So I tell people there are 3 economies that should be of importance to you. Your personal economy, the national economy of the country you reside in, and the global economy. You see, for the national and global economy, you don't have control over it. For example, we wake up in Nigeria, fuel price was 185 last year, and today it is 1,180. Did we contribute to that conversation? No. But those are decisions made by other people that we have to live with. Devaluation. 4 years ago, 3 years ago, you could buy dollars at 360. Today, you buy dollars at 1,700. Did we say, please, let's be a part of that conversation? No. So there are more things that you do not have control over that affect your finances. But you see that your own personal economy, you have a bit of control. And you must take it more seriously, more intentionally. How you make money, how you manage your money, where's your money going to? I tell people, I am not a finance coach that tells people not to spend money. Please spend money. Because you spending is what oils, the wheel of the economy. So if we don't spend, the economy will not grow. And that was what happened during COVID. We still have not recovered from it, where, the natural cost of the economy was grounded. So we must spend. But I tell people it is easier to make more money than to cut down expenses. By the way, to what extent do you want to cut down on your expenses? So I think expanding your income is the way. And I love Dr. Stephen, he does a lot of that. I hope people here from this meeting, you're going to subscribe to GTEx and the things they offer, the products and services. That's one easy way of expanding what you already do. Affiliate marketing, monetizing your passion, monetizing your gifts, monetizing your proficiency, monetizing partnerships, monetizing your past experiences. I went into teaching personal finance, just as I already explained, because of my past experiences. And listen, personal finance and literacy has taken me to the world more than even what my accounting qualifications have done. I've been to continents, I've been to places to just help people understand and, talk to people about how they can manage their resources. I'm going to leave you with an acronym. And the whole essence of this, my brief conversation is, please take your personal finances more seriously. Now, and your business finances and your desire to build wealth, because nobody is going to do it for you. If you think your government cares for you, they play, as we say back home, just they play, because nobody has got your interest at heart predominantly. So you have to work. So my plea is, yes, just like I said, they play. Please participate in wealth conversations. Participate in your personal finance. Don't say, I don't understand maths. When I was in school, I didn't like maths. This is not maths, this is money. There are different things. Don't say, I don't know where my money is going. Your money is in animate. You are animate. How can a non-living thing be wiser than you? So participate in issues that revolve around your money. Where are you making money? Where's the money going? Follow your money closely. As we speak here, you're seeing Dr. Stephen for the first time. Don't let him go. It's a money machine. Oga, lay hands on me. Oga, let me touch the hem of your garment and the hem of your wallet. Show me the way. I want to go places. Partnerships. Because we are here because we have seen something in us. And that's why we meet my family on the weekend, one of my freest weekends this year. So come to Cameroon. Let's think, what can we do now? This is what I can do. This is how can we collaborate? Do you see? So participate. L leverage, which is what I already explained. GTEx, how can I sign? What can I do? Where's the money? Show us the way. A, take actionable points. It's not enough to get all of these things. Listen, this is divine. That you're here today is divine. That you're listening to all of us is divine. That you're listening to them is divine. Take action. Don't go back and say, that program was very good. I took photos. After the photos, what next? You post it on your story. What next? What is it going to amount to? Do you see? Make sure that you're taking an actionable step from this program. And finally, realize that you are the asset. You've got potential. You've got gifts. You've got the brain. You've got everything it takes to take you to your next financial levels. I hope this people to mind. I'm able to appreciate it.
Thank you very much. So, last but not the least, we have the CEO online mobile.
Good afternoon. Well, all the amazing speakers have already giving all the knowledge we needed to give. Everybody knows my name. I run one of the telecom operator business in Nigeria, mobile phone operator like MTN, Orange, like Nextel. I spent the last 25 years in the industry, and Cameroon was one of my, I would say, first few countries I started my career as a support engineer working for Ericsson. So it's really a pleasure to be here. So I remember first coming into Douala in 2002. Actually, that was my first time coming in here, and then Cameroon was still active at the time. And it was really quite an interesting flight. I won't go to that flight now because I'm in that country. But bottom line is that it's a pleasure to see that Africans will share more things in common than we actually imagine. A lot of our countries are imaginary borders. Reality is that we have so much more in common, so much more in common. I've been to so many African countries, at least about 20 of them. And the reality is that we are the same people. Africans need to learn how to collaborate, how to understand each other, and how to build an economy among ourselves. Flights is so difficult to fly across different parts of Africa. Simply because we don't trade among ourselves. There are not so much volume of people moving from one place to another, so therefore transportation is very expensive. It's more expensive to fly to Cameroon than to fly to the UK from Nigeria. And we are just 1 hour flight. It took me 6 hours to get here from the time I left Lagos because I was flying through Lomé. So I know that the only way Africa progresses is if we actually make this intra-Africa trade work. And intra-Africa trade will only work with communication and interaction among the people that live in the countries of Africa improves. We have to visit each other, we have to understand each other, and we should avoid stereotyping each other. Because at the end of the day, the social economic context where each one of us grew up will be different, but at the heart of it all, we are the same people. I found that the Bantu people who are very, very predominant in East Africa and Southern Africa originated from Cameroon, by the way. So reality is that most of us by migration, we are really much more interlinked, much more than we can ever imagine. So I say to my fellow African brothers, we are all here visiting you guys. We hope you guys will come over to Nigeria. Don't be scared of Nigeria. And as a matter of fact, we have to dream to turn around the fortunes of Africa. Every country that relies on outsider to build it never gets built. The people that will build Africa will be Africans themselves, and we are the future. I said in my session this morning, Africa is supposed to be 2.4 billion people in 20 years time. 1 out of every 5 of those 3.4 billion, actually 1 out of 6 will be Nigerian, as it is now 400 million people. Reality is that 2.4 billion people is the largest concentration of human beings in any part of the world. 2.4 billion is a huge market. Huge market. We have everything that is required to actually harness the potential of the 2.4 billion people. Real estate is part of it. Agriculture is going to be key. Power, energy. We have got everything. There's really no continent in this world that has blessed us what as Africa is blessed. So it will be down to our ability to imagine a future for ourselves and create a future for ourselves. So I say to my fellow Africans that one of the only influences you have over your future is your dream. Because we do not control tomorrow, You do not control who you're going to meet. You do not control who you're going to, what's going to happen to your career. But you have one control, and that is your dream. You gotta have to dream it. And then it is only impossible until it is done. Because when it is done, it's no longer impossible. Everything that most people have counted as impossible in the past was done by somebody. And as soon as that person is leaving, they will say, oh wow, the person has broken the record, right? You can also break records, multiple records, only if you will dream. If it can happen in your mind, it can happen in your lifetime. Thank you.
One more time, can we clap for? Well, I want to thank you all for coming, despite the rain and all of that, so good to see you. I oftentimes when I do this meet and greet, it's usually more like a book review session. So I have a few of my books here, and I'll just do a few of them. We have one called The Billionaire Habit. I think last time I came here, we looked at this, right? Those of you, how many of you were here last year when I was here? Okay, this review Billionaire Habits. And it says the secret billionaires used to do well, therefore important to not. And one of the first things we talked about here is called win-win relationship. Can we say win-win relationship? Win-win relationship. So I realized that a lot of poor people, when they meet anybody, once they tell you this person is rich, the first thing that goes to our mind is, what can I get? Right? What can the person give me? Can God touch your hearts? You know, so that, and then we begin to burden them with our problems, right? As though they don't have problems. Every day, the amount of requests I get for help is crazy. But that's not even what is annoying as the audacity. People ask as though I owe them. Am I making sense at all? And it's part of the problem that, and when we say poor people, it's not by your account, it's mindset, right? When you have a poverty mindset, you think everybody owes you, you think people owe you, and you fail to realize that nobody owes anyone. You owe yourself. You're the only one that owe yourself to succeed. But when you then begin this partnership that Mrs. Shola was sharing about, you want to think of win-win. I remember meeting a minister in the former administration in Nigeria. The two of us, was very coincident because we're just the two of us in an elevator. And we started from the first floor to the 12th floor together, just the two of us. Instead, we were both also going to the same floor. And I started just greeting him. I remember my brain just started racing. What can I do for this guy? I knew what he can do for me. For a starter, he was Minister for Transportation. He could make the rail pass through my estates, and I have many of them, right? Or I mean, there are a lot of requests I could ask him for, but I couldn't think of what I could do for him. And as I greeted him, that was the end. I did not say anything for him. Right? And that's the right mindset of a billionaire. Win-win relationship. Can you tap your neighbor and say win-win relationship? Always look at it from the angle of what can I also add? What can I do for this person? Does that make sense at all? When you get, and I tell people most times, you reach out first. Do it first. And once you do it first, there is nothing you will ask, right, that they won't do for you. And I'll give you a practical example. One of them is the richest man in Africa. His name is Cosmos Maduka, founder of Cos Charities. That happens to be one of my great mentors that I admire. Is there Cos Charities in Cameroon? There's no Cos, but are you sure? But they're in Ghana. right? Yeah, because China is in Ghana. I will not be surprised if they're in Cameroon, because in Ghana as well, they are very silent. Because the Koschari in Ghana is not the Koschari that sells car, but that sells motor parts. Right, so I can assure you, Koschari is in Cameroon. Because the most of the branches is just selling motor parts, right? So all the, so they're quite silent, you know, they're there. But I share that to give you an example of how I met them. Right, it was at the airport, and I just passed through the security, whatever. And then I heard one man say, why are you sending me back? Why are you sending me back? There's no, practically the immigration officials or whatever they are were just frustrating him. And by the time I look, obviously it was because they knew who he was. And you know how we feel in Africa. Once you're a big man, see your boss, and they know he wasn't going to do the normal tipping and give free money. So they just kept saying you rescan his luggage all over again. So I then looked up and he was in, so soon as once it was done, I approached him, greeted him. And the first thing I said, what can I give? What can I give? I have my book, right? So I signed it myself, an author. I've hosted great speakers like John Maxwell, Blanca Don. It would be nice to have you one of these days. And he was okay. Thank you. And then we ended. But I knew meeting him wasn't going to solidify the relationship. I will let him talk. It wasn't going to be. Right. So I kept looking for opportunity to get closer. Unfortunately, before I knew it, I had the wife passed away. So I remember messaging him, I'd love to come. And I had to be Googling, what do you give somebody who just lost their spouse? And true story. And then I remember sharks look for a few things to get. One of them was a diary. That said they would like to journal, right? So a journal, a diary, that would be a portrait of his late wife, and a few other things. And I remember getting to his house, and there were tens of people there, from church, from everywhere. And to my surprise, not one brought a gift. Not one. Can you believe that? Not one person. Right. Cut the long story short, that was the beginning of our relationship. In fact, my event was the first event he spoke at after the loss of God. First. Right. And I'm trying to use this to explain the power of what? We relationship. Does this make sense at all? Yeah. Because many of us could have connected a relationship that will have changed our lives totally. Right? Relationship that will have made all the difference. But we are worried more about, well, I don't have enough. Now, what exactly was the gift? Really, if you look at what I did, it wasn't really anything he couldn't buy for himself. But was the thoughtfulness. Are we learning today? Thoughtfulness. Thoughtfulness, just be thoughtful. And today, the relationship is so strong that sometimes shocked. Remember one of his in-law, I wanted him to speak. And then he, and to my surprise, the in-law reached out to me and said, Dr. Cosmo said you are his manager. And I was like, I don't understand. You are his family. But that's how the relationship has grown over time. But it was because I didn't look at him as this one of the richest people who have over $1 billion, right? Like, what can he do for me? And how can he help me? Till today, one cover, I've done investment, I have several investments, I need investors. Till tomorrow, I've not asked him once. And this is a relationship that if he's to invest in any of my business, the least he will do is $10 million. Well, I don't know why we clap. I didn't ask him for it, and I've never, right? But helping to understand the right mindset, right, to success, and it's part of what I shared in the book. Because if you don't get this concept, you will just keep looking at people like me, and yes, you want to be like me, but if you don't practice the principles, does that make sense at all? It is going to constantly get a lot more what? Difficult. But can I shock you that what I have gained is more than money he would have given me? Do you agree with me?
Yes.
Way more, right? Because for many of us, just like myself, we come from a background where there is nobody people can point to for guarantees. I don't know that, and you have no idea how those things have limited the opportunities that will have come your way. Right? Because it wasn't like your uncle was a minister or your auntie was rich. So even though you now have a business, even though you now have something that you need people to do business with you, right? And at a level, a certain volume, they're like, when something goes wrong with this relationship or with this transaction, who do we even know with him? Is this making sense to talk? Yeah. That we know you can go and hold this person, or this person has a grip on him, or this can become a buffer. And that's what I have enjoyed with people like that. That today, more people are now confident to invest $1 million without even seeing them. Am I making sense to talk? Trust me, he can't be with Cosmos Maduka if he doesn't have integrity. Do you see? And many of us do not know how in Africa, integrity is not measured by actually integrity. Integrity is measured by association. Right? So a lot of us are entrepreneurs and we're just wondering, why is my business not growing? Why is my business? Meanwhile, I mean, he was just sharing yesterday how the guy said, I want to invest $400,000, but it's because I saw you, Dr. Stephen. And when you meet Dr. Stephen in Cameroon, let me know, then I wire the money. Yes, is that serious? Right? So, in our part of the world, integrity is not really integrity. You can have integrity as long as you like, right? Until somebody people believe has integrity, endorses you, is associated with you, then they are not yet what? Comfortable. Hence, there's a limit to your growth. So you see why your focus when you meet a wealthy person shouldn't be, what will he give me? Am I making sense at all? Because just that association alone will give you way more than what they will have given to you. If you nurture it, if you build it, if you take it from the point of giving instead of from the point of receiving. Does this make sense at all? Are we sure? Yes, sir. Come on, are we sure? Yes, sir. Are we sure? Yes, sir. I remember when I got closer to President Obasanjo, before you know on social media, people say, you didn't know Obasanjo giving him money. It used to be, you didn't know Oyedepo giving him money. I think now it's not Cosmos giving. Do you know what? I love that he say that. Okay? It helps the brand. If Cosmos can give me money, you as rich as Cosmos, bring your own. Are we learning at all? Yes, but don't go with that mindset of, hey, what will I get? The man is rich. And people will tempt you into that. They will even ask you, how you met the guy? I hope he gave you dollars. Right? You met this rich person. What did he give? Don't even deny that he didn't give. Just say, well, we're looking at some big stuff. We're looking at some big stuff. Just move on. Have we learned something? Yes. Come on, talk to me. Have we learned something? Yes. Right. So a lot of stuff I shared here. I hope you read it. For those of you buying it today, I'm going to be signing it for you. But read it because your habit determines your decisions, and your decisions determines your destiny. So what needs to change is not necessarily suddenly you are a billionaire. No, your habits first needs to change. When your habits change, which is what you do regularly, right? Over time, what changes as well? Your income, your life change. And those money that you'll be looking for, naturally, you begin to what? Attract them automatically. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, the second book I want to briefly talk about is called The Billionaire Code. It's like the part two. Thank you. It's like the part two of the billionaire habits. We just add further conversation. And this is what Brian Tracy said about this book, because I gave him a copy to review. I don't know if you know Brian Tracy. Okay, so most of you know him. He says, this is an amazing book full of wisdom and ideas that you can use to improve your financial situation immediately. This is Brian Tracy. Grant Cardone says this guy is amazing, he's a phenomenal human being. Damon John says, I know he's putting you on the right track. I've met him, he's really amazing. I mean, these are great world leaders now. John Maxwell says that Stephen is my friend. You see? Friend is good man. And I respect what he's doing as a real estate company. Right? So for Kiyosaki, the first book I read that changed my life, the author of Rich Dad Poor Dad says, if you want to be a billionaire, you have to think like a billionaire and think bigger. That's why you need the billionaire habits that Dr. Stephen Akintayo. Come on. All right. Les Brown says, you're an icon of forceful good on the planet. God has chosen you for that, and I recognize that. Okay, so really powerful book, but let me share a few things from this one called The Billionaire Code. And here we talked about moderate lifestyle. This is chapter 10. And I have a quote here. I said, moderation is not so much about how much one spends as it is about how much one spends in proportion to his income. I don't know if you agree with me, right? Because sometimes when we have this conversation about moderation, okay, we don't even analyze it based on who we are referring to. What is moderate for me is what? Is extravagant for somebody else. Do you agree with me? Yes. Okay, so, and this is where a lot of us miss it in Africa. E.g., you see somebody buy a private jet and your mind goes into waste. Can you not give the money to charity? Poor, you know, blah, 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 blah. Today, everybody who knows me know that indeed I deserve a private jet. Two of us, okay, with my level of itinerary. In fact, what was in my heart, if not just that the cost was ridiculous, was to have just flown our speakers in a PJ to Cameroon, because it was a long time. It was just an hour, right? And then return. But when I saw the cost, you know, we spent over $50,000 to and fro. And I saw the instruction. Eh? I received instruction on moderacy. Right? So, my point is, moderacy is based on your own level per time. Does it make sense at all? Yes. And we must understand when we talk about the concept of moderacy, it's also based on the purpose of it. Because some moderacy don't make sense. It does not make sense. It's the reason people are not confident doing business with you. You know, I mean, Izu is here. Izu has been a management consultant for a while. And we used to be in Oba in Nigeria. It's a place I felt was, you know, was in front of a market and the office, of course, a block of offices, but we were facing a tide road. And in my mind, we're strategically located, in my mind. But first of all, my office was the third floor, no elevator. So by the time you get to my office, first of all, you are panting heavily, right? Five bedroom. I remember some people will come. I had a spell where in my place, like, I'm a bit disappointed when I came to your office, because your brand is bigger than this. In those days, I didn't understand what you were talking about. Because I was okay with we're 5 bedroom, you don't understand. You want the entire floor, considering where we are coming from, right? I just sense those perception with people. And then so as some people say, even if it's Omole, let's move to Omole. And Omole is not too far from that place, but it's like a GRE, right? Where high network people live. And he kept saying that. I remember I started with digital marketing. And digital marketing, you don't even need an office, right? But I didn't know we had moved into real estate where you needed to flash. We're still talking about moderacy now, so that you balance the conversation. This time we hear moderacy, you just see it from that angle of drop your cost. But you have to drop your cost to the degree of who you are, where you are, right? Some so-called moderacy is foolishness. Because now you're giving people a reason to be scared. So even then too, I remember people who buy property before people say people are not real. And I want my money back. I'm like, what are you talking about? Right? Meanwhile, it was all about perception. So I remember having this argument with a particular client in the US. He just went ranting. I didn't know what was his problem. And he kept using the F word. And we just moved to this new Omole office. Right? He was ranting. And then I told him, I said, first of all, you're too rude. Okay. And so I'm going to block you right now. Right? But before I block you, here is our new office. So that you don't go to the old one and say, you see, there's camera, they are not even in the office. I say, we have moved. So here's our new office. Here is the customer service number. Right? So that when you get there, you can call them and you will say again and validate your fear. And I didn't even say anything to it. First, because this guy was in the US military and threatened there's not. So I even told him, I said, look, you can inform CIA, you can inform FBI, because as far as I'm concerned, this is a civil transaction. Right? So I don't know all this nonsense you're talking about. So he came to this new office. I was in my upstairs and I could hear him because I had not even finished furnishing. Shouting. So you people are this big. So you people are this big. Give my receipt. Give my receipt. At that point, it dawned on me that wow. So if we had been in the former office, you see now, it would have been. This is what they say. And these you guys, right? But by virtue of the location of the office, everything looks really cool. That alone just gave him comfort, and the case ended there. Right? So when I moved to Dubai, I didn't make the same mistake. I intentionally was living in Burj Khalifa, tallest building in the world. I got myself a Rolls Royce with a driver. Okay? And then every morning I do video coming out of Burj Khalifa, entering my Rolls Royce. My driver taking me to office there. I mean, we have this. Now I was wiser. And then when you were coming to Dubai, when I'm around, I tell my driver to go and pick you up from the airport. Do you know what that means? It's a Rolls Royce. And then bring you to Burj Khalifa, the tallest restaurant in the world is there. So we'll first meet at that restaurant and have either lunch or dinner, depending on when you come. Then if we're close enough, we then come to my house. I mean, you have a choice than to pay. Will there be any further arguments? Will we even negotiate? Right? Your man is saying, let me not fall my hand. Exactly. I mean, it would be embarrassing for you to say no. So, in teaching moderacy, it is based on where you are, who you are, what you are even selling, right? Because sometimes you are in certain businesses, you have to look the part. I mean, here's the CEO of Nine Mobile, the office, even the office in Banana Island. So that tells you something, isn't it? About the network. Of course, the founders used to get to sell away from Dubai. So I'm not surprised they had to make sure the structure were in those kind of locations and all that, but it's ultimately how you grow. So there are codes in business that are very, very important. I'm now more in the US, but I've given myself a target. In 2 years, I have to have a private jet in the US. Because, and it's not because I want to show off, right? It's just based on the volume of work we're working on, right? We're building a 99-acre estate, which will most likely increase it. Want to put a golf course. You know, I need big money. It's going to cost us over $150 million, right? So to be able to attract people who invest at that level, I have to look like the investment itself. It makes sense? Yeah. I have to. So intentionally, my house in the US is a 3.3-acre property, massive. Intentionally, it wasn't by mistake. It was it's intentionally done, right? So that when you come, you know, I remember when we hosted for customers, I said, well, I had to put you in a hotel because, you know, you haven't been to my house. You know, when I said, no, I'm okay. It's better to be your house next time. I said, yes, now we're talking. Okay, because I want to be sure it's the kind of property that will make you calm. And these are little codes in business, right? That you must be conscious of. But those of you in real estate, you must look what you sell, right? It is not a waste of money, right? But also be strategic about it. Some things you should listen. There's no point buying it, right? Because it might be what? Better to just list it, and it helps you when you need to go to certain places. I remember when I started my business, it was even my customers that would be ranting on Facebook. You are moving around sites, no policemen. And I knew that they were scared for their investment. so intentionally now, at least I have a police escort in Nigeria. At least and men of that, hey, better. Let me tell you, they will just kill me like that, my money is gone. So very important that you are, but more importantly, know who you are, know where you're coming from, right? And let your heart be moderate. Am I making sense at all? There's a word I always say, and I learned from one of my mentors, write it down. Functionality before luxury. See, today, if I still need to do economy, I will do economy, right? If I need to take Uber, I will take Uber, right? You know, I'm not trying to impress nobody, but if I know that this is strategic and then I need to go all out, I what? Go all out. Are we learning at all? Yes. So that you don't just create unnecessary burden for yourself. Be you. You know, make sure your life is as simple as simplicity can be. But be smart enough to know when the people, aka your customer, don't want it simple. And show them that you too can be sophisticated. Make sense? Yeah. Okay, well, read more and we learn more. So here we have the billionaire land banker. So this, in fact, this too is about real estate. This generally talks about global real estate. One of the best books I've written on real estate is this one, Maximizing Your Real Estate Investment. And it's from a global perspective. Some of those who love these books are not even Nigerians, so more to non-Nigerians than Nigerians. And I remember one of my mentees had the book in Dubai Metro, and was reading it, and the Filipino said, oh, let me just go through it. And by the time she was going through, she said, you know what, any amount you want, I will pay you. Go and get another one, but I'm not returning this to you. He said, because in Filipino, we have big time real estate crisis, and this book is answering it right away. You know, so really, really good book. But this one focuses on land banking. I tell people, if you're going to build wealth in real estate in Africa, you must master land banking. The biggest resources, the biggest wealth is in the land and not in the building. In Africa, right? You make more profit margin on the land than you can make on a building. Right? People do land just to show off. You know, sometimes I hear some of our competitors gossiping here and there, and I laugh. So you gossiping that will not build more houses like you, but every day you are in the FCC. I mean, you know, you are counting billions in losses. I mean, I don't understand. Okay. Meanwhile, I have quietly, you know, sold thousands of plots, made a lot of money by just selling them, which is easier, right? Which has less headache as of this moment. Now, we still have a vision of building 25,000 green and smart home in Nigeria. Okay? But at this moment, with the inflation, right, with the devaluation of Naira, wisdom is profitable to what? To direct. So we constantly, I mean, we have 2 new estates now. The latest in Djibouti, 260 acres. We're playing, right? And like that, you know, we have another one in Kuje, 46 hectares. That's over 117 acres, right? And we're launching like that. So we're playing more to our strength. We still build houses in Nigeria, but at our pace. When people who are okay to pay any of the variation and things like that. But guess what? And that's the good news. Without building house on some of our estates, some of them we were selling them 5 years ago at 1.5 million. Now it's going for 40 million. So why the rush? And why the rush? Another thing you will learn, and I hope you read the book, it's called Highest and Best Use. Some of our estate, I look back now that we bought 5 years ago. If we had rushed to build houses on it, you know what we would have built? 1-story building. And it wouldn't have been the highest and best use of the land. Because today now we are saying even our neighbors are now doing 4-story, they are doing 5-story. Meanwhile, we would have tied that and we would have sold it. Right? I will have tied that. I will end here. Tied that as a 1-story building in a place we could have gone higher, made more profit on that square foot of land. Because are you aware in real estate? It is the land that appreciates, not the building. This building we're in now, this cinema has lost value since they started it. A lot of the woods are getting bad, a lot of the rugs, right? But guess what? The land upon which this hotel sits, the value has gone way up. Are we learning here? So don't tell me you're doing real estate without even understanding the power of land. Because that is really the gold mine. It's the land. And as the world population begins to grow, particularly in Lagos and Nigeria and in other African countries, African population begin to bulge, right? You own a land, you are guaranteed $1 billion by just owning a land, and you can keep it. You know, of course, we share a lot about how to preserve the land. Is another thing. It's not just buying it. You have to buy with the right resources. Virtually all our estate has security men. Whether we build house on it or not, 2 security men minimum, and they do shift day and night to prevent land encroachment. Right? So there are a lot of things about it that you read from the book, and then, but generally, from different types of real estate, shoplet, you know, rental, rent to rent, all of that, you'll be able to learn it from this one. Does it make sense? Yes. Okay, so 2 more, and then we take questions. But has this been what's your time? Yes. Are we sure? Yes. Okay, and I'm really impressed because when an event is free and it rains, it tells you, who was that even having that conversation? Told me, now you can see, right? So I was telling you, I said, that's why I don't like doing free events. When you do free events, you really need 5 times the size to register. Because anything can discourage people, anything. Just the cloud Well, they have nothing to lose, they didn't even pay, right? So before you know, you will spend so much money, make an elaborate arrangement and nothing. So when I do conferences that are free, we have one next Saturday in Nigeria, over 1,000-seater capacity. You know, so that because she does PR for us. So I was telling her, I said, I need all the CEOs to be on all the radio stations, all the TV stations this week. And she was like, do we need to really do PR downloads? I said, you don't understand. You do more PR for free event than you do for paid event. Because once it's paid event, they pay. If they are business, if they don't show up, it even reduce your cost. Right? But trust me, they will show up because now they pay. But when it's free, you then have double work to do. So for those of you who came out, let's write the ring clap for yourself. It's also about your own development, okay? So we have this, it's called the Billionaire Habits for Entrepreneurs. And these are the latest. You guys didn't see this last year, did you? I'm not sure if this, those of you came last year. Did I bring this one? Huh?
Yes.
Are you sure? And same with the Billionaire Land Banker?
Yes.
Oh, really? Yes, Cameroon is updated. Okay. So that means it was really it came out, you guys had access to it. But I did this particularly because of a lot of people want to grow their business to billions. Because you guys spend safe or Naira or France. Okay, we need to change the currency. Right. So I realized that a lot of startup guys, and Mr. Femi addressed that today, it's really difficult to move from startup, right, to becoming a multinational. It's one of the most difficult things to do. Particularly if you're doing it from Africa. And part of the problem is many of us do not know the political side of business. That once your business gets to a level, you better network with people that matter, or people who have control over those that matter. Are we learning at all? Yes. Because people will just start coming after you just because they feel it's an opportunity to exploit you. Right? Oh, the guy has money. By the time we bring him to our office, at least something will blow. You see the point? And you don't know that. You don't know those things are important. And before you know, this one is extorting you, this one is extorting you. And before you say Jack Robinson, your business is dead. Right? I remember a particular gentleman, somebody was telling me, he's also in the real estate sector. And the person telling me, said, this guy does not understand relationship and is suffering for it. One day, immigration people just showed up in his office. His COO, all his expatriates, arrested everybody and deported them. Okay? But again, he doesn't know people. And in this part of the world, you should not negotiate just at the top alone. Middle level, the groundwork guys. Right? So you do both. Your guy, you know, the middle level guys, you know. Am I making sense at all? Yeah. Else people will literally, and let's see what the funny part about that story is one of the man's employee that is falling out with that sent those people. That's those people. And he doesn't know. It's his lawyer that he also fall out with that was telling this story. So I realized that a lot of young people, we start businesses in Africa, the business begins to grow, and then before you know it's as if it start coming down. A lot of people notice that. And because we're just not conscious of certain things that businesses need to start working on at a level. We, for example, now have a CSO. Some companies don't even know when to have a CSO, who is a retired police officer, to make sure that his job is to make sure everybody is safe. Right? He's conscious of security issues. You have over 100 employees and you don't have a CSO who has an experience in I won't learn it at all. So there are a few things I started putting in place in this book to help people know what do you need to start. And you know, the beautiful thing about what I shared in this book, you need to start doing them before you need them. Once you do it as at the time you need, everybody will taught you, including mentorship. I remember the story of a real estate guy. He started doing well in Nigeria, making, at some point, he was making 5 billion naira a year. And he used to work with another real estate person who was like, you know, all those, you know, there are fathers in every industry, right? So he had worked with them before him. And he said each time he sees his friend, was the father that was telling me this story, like a higher real estate guy. He said each time he sees this guy's friend, say, tell him to come and see me. Tell him to come and see me. I see danger. There are things he needs to put in place. The guy will not answer. Before you know it, they had their biggest PR crisis. Big. Suddenly, he now knew the mentor. He said, when he first called him, he said, first of all, you have to wire 50 million before you hear mentor. Now, he wasn't asking for anything when he was saying you should come and see him. He wasn't even asking for anything, he was just, hey, you need to, when you are growing now, do this, do this. That's all he wanted to just advise him. Very sure. I said, now, are we learning at all? What I was saying, you must put certain relationships in place before you need them. I said, first of all, 50 million. And then, of course, I had to now help you. So you are in Africa, ladies and gentlemen, you are not in America. In this part of the world, you must analyze those who, one way or the other, you are passing their territory on your way to the top. And be strategic to start building relationship with them. Now, hear this. Some, you may not necessarily build relationship with them, but build relationship with those who have influence over them. Okay? So, the chairman of one of our businesses like always have police issues. Our land business, because it's either the seller, right? We call them a monile, right? The day you have to go and launch your estate, before you know it talks and everything. So you still need police, right, to interface, you know, or you bought a land, the 2 members of the families will now be trying to use the police to fight you. I mean, one way or the other, you have to interface with the police. So, and thank God they gave this smart. Before we ever needed it, I built relationship with the former agent of police. And so it was easy at some point to say, sir, you have to chair, you know, this particular subsidiary. Are we learning here? Yeah. And today now, some of even the land, when we're about buying, just called the seller. This is my Kobiro. Yes, sir. Let me be honest with you about this land. Sir, you know, I can't lie to you. This is the real. They have been adult manner. There was one we were almost paying. The guy told us the land is facing the third road. I told Baba Mike because you know, let me be honest with you, it is inside the bush where 10 kilometers. Come on. And we'll have paid before we now start realizing that it was a whole different ballgame. Right? So have we learned something at all?
Yes, sir.
Are we sure? So the last one is called Billionaire Habits for Pastors. I know we are pastors here. Right? Beautiful. So here this powerful book, and the focus is we realize that across different parts of Africa, people have had to extort church members. And if you're going to be honest, as much as we like to demonize people, some of these pastors are also victims. I'm not making sense at all. They also work. My own father, you know, he attends white gathering church, so they call them prophet. And I saw how I grew up knowing a very, very poor father. Because, and hear this very well, he prays for people, asks them to make a vow that when God answers their prayer, they will remember him And many of them go answer their prayer and they don't remember him. Okay? And so I see my father just being bitter. I remember how he came to, I asked me to pray. He was trusting God for children. God gave me children. He did not remember me. This one, before he became governor. Right? So some pastors realize the same thing we're talking about. I just feel it's better to have manipulated them into if you sow now, so, you will get 1 million, and then you see all manner of games and manipulation. Are we together now? Because pastor or no pastor, he also has children, he also has bills, right? He has these bills. And some of these people did not work because they just want to trust God for their members. So I felt one of the ways to solve that problem is to write a book that shows pastor 20 businesses they can do that does not have stopped their ministry work. Isn't this making sense at all? Yes. And the pastor in Nigeria, all of you know him, right? Bad months, bad. Everyone say bad months. $200,000 will hit his account. On YouTube monetization, YouTube. Bad month. Say things don't flow. And there's nobody that generates content like pastors. Yeah. Content that can be properly monetized. So those are just examples of the businesses I shared there, right? That can be properly monetized. And I know another pastor is into relationship, right? In fact, now the ministry is YouTube, the ministry of YouTube. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. Yes. The ministry of what? YouTube, because he can preach from anywhere. So, but that YouTube is now the focus. Because so you can legitimately build your wealth, even as a minister, and still impact lives and still add value to people without manipulation, right? And that way, it's even you supporting church members, it's even you helping them. And that's why I authored the book, The Billionaire Habits for Pastors. And the pastor also forwarded it to Dr. Manuel, who also balances between business and pastoring and ministry. And we felt with this stage, we really help Africa. The one I will soon write is Billionaire Habits for Politicians. Right? How politicians can legitimately make money without having to steal. And it's true. Are you aware Obama has made hundreds of millions of dollars? Are you aware? Yes, you are not aware. Spotify, is this Spotify deal? Is this Spotify? One of the streaming platforms did a deal with him, and the next is another one, but just podcast platform did a deal with him, and it was on over 100 million. Right? So they have there are a lot of ways as a politician that you will make way more money with peace of mind than constituency money, than stealing, people's money, and then the FCC is chasing you. I don't know which one you have here. And different things are chasing you, and you don't have peace of mind. And even your reputation is a mess, right? Because people don't like how we've done things. Together, ladies and gentlemen, because this is a movement, we will change Africa. Do you agree with me? Yes. Together. Because we will build legitimate wealth, we will build it the right way, and we will turn our continent around. When other countries are counting developments in Africa, we've done 20 roads. We've done 500 roads. Do you know how China counts her growth? By how many millionaires they raised? As at the last time, they had a goal of 450 million. That's government. Are we learning at all? Government planning to make 450 million people to become millionaires. That's and it's the truth, because when you say the richest country in the world, like US, what made them the richest country? Is the people in the country. When you count 100 richest people in the world, more than 50 of them are Americans living in America, paying their tax in America, helping the American economy to grow. So if you want Africa to rise, Africa to grow, Africans have to become rich. Are you learning at all?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, our focus is just on politicians. Politicians have never built any country. Not even America was not built by politicians. Even China was not built by government. You know the role of Jack Ma in just the e-commerce evolution of China. Am I making sense at all? Is Jack Ma a politician? No, of course, in those countries, is a communist, so once you hit a level financially, you join the elite. Am I making sense at all? That's how they kind of run their own policy. But it's not as if it's a government official. So if you want Africa to change, you have to become multi-millionaires, employing people rather, and become billionaires, giving people jobs, building the city. Right? When we start doing that, we'll turn Africa around. I'll wrap up with this. I don't know if you have watched the movie The Men Who Built America. Right? If you haven't, go watch it again. And you understand what needs to happen to change Africa. Because you and I have been shouting bad government, bad government. What has changed since we'll be shouting? Singers have come, sang, fellas sang, died. The children are still singing. We are still there. Shouldn't that tell you that there's something we are missing in this what? In this narrative. Something is missing. The honest truth is the fact that you can't give what you don't have. We Africans haven't developed ourselves to be extremely sophisticated entrepreneurs. Because ultimately every nation is built by the entrepreneur. So back to Men Who Built America. How many of you know the man called George Rockefeller, who is behind the entire petroleum sector revolution? One man. Even did monopoly and was accused of monopoly. Right? But Shell, Chevron, ExxonMobil, all are owned by this same man. Because when they now accuse him of monopoly, because that's when American government became strong. The man was richer than the country. So they decided to divide his company into 5. And those 5 companies is still what I'm telling you, ExxonMobil, Chevron. Right? Because they felt one man richer than the entire country. So, same thing with the steel, Andrew Carnegie. I don't know if you read the story of Andrew Carnegie. One man, the entire rail corporation, because through steel, at some point controlled Vanderbilt as well, and Andrew Carnegie. Andrew Carnegie also at some point bought most of the rail, and in fact, it was the rail business that now made him at some point richest, the first person to pull out $400 million when he sold the entire corporation. Are we learning at all? The banking sector, JP Morgan, one man. The JP Morgan one was the most annoying. I think it was John D. Roosevelt who was so pissed off with JP Morgan because each time there is a financial crisis, the whole government will now be begging, and then you will not be playing them like, you will be, well, I'll check time, brother. You will just drop the proposal with the president and then go and be giving them time. And say, well, if you don't sign this, Mr. President, right, consider the entire industry gone by 12 noon tomorrow. So, right, so D. Roosevelt was so pissed off, and he then started what we now know as central banks. Because after the last time he had to beg him to help him, he said, no, one man should have this kind of power. Because he's so big, he negotiates with all the industry sector and preserve them from going bankrupt and bail them out. One man. That is the revolution we need in Africa. See what's going on with the petroleum sector in Nigeria. Do you know in the next 5 years, Nigeria will be the largest exporter of refined petroleum in the whole of the world? Because of what they're putting. Part of the frustration you are seeing NNPC do, let me tell you the frustration. Their own refinery is about to start working. right? And if they allow Dangote have a grip on time, before that, there won't be opportunity because from importing fuel, they are still making some runs, right? Now, the only opportunity to still make something will be what? The refinery. So strangely, the refinery that has refused to work all these years, NNPC is now promising it's going to be working very soon. And doing all manner of delay taxes, just and then increasing the price so that once the refinery is working, there's enough money to still keep milking. But either way, one man has shall make sure that importation of petrol is about to die in Nigeria. Are we learning at all? But I can assure you, in fact, if you notice, so that you know about the power of interest, he came back, he once said he was not going to steal. He had to come back and say, I'm not going to steal anymore. Because what you don't know, these things is about people's interest. People are milking sectors, milking, and are happy that the sector does not work. So it takes people, I call them men like institution. Everyone says men like institution. And in this movement by Stephen Akintayo, I am trusting God to raise men like institutions. So this is a movement. Tell your neighbor, this is a movement. Tell another neighbor, this is a movement. Okay, and look at your neighbor and say, I'm glad you're on board.
I'm glad.
Thank you, and I'm open to taking your questions. Any question? One, who else? We don't want another person's question to be to another. 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's it. We only have 5. So you know yourself, please know your number. 6. Okay, raise your hands again so you're sure of your number. You are number 1. Who was number 2? You are number 2. You are number 3. Right? You are number 6. You are number 4. And then you are number 5. And then 7. Okay? So know your number. And know more. Now we have the books outside. Once you get it, please bring it to me to sign for you. How much are you selling it? I believe it's supposed to be the same price, this billionaire series. $47. How much is that in France? Eh? 129. No. 17,000. Is that correct, George? No. It's 28,000. 28,000. 28,000 seconds. Okay. So can I do this? If you're buying just one, you can get it for just 20,000 seconds. Right. So if you're buying all the 6 in the billionaire series and the real estate one as well. But I heard you guys, this is also $47 actually. Right. So if you're buying the 6, instead of paying 20,000, you can pay 10,000 seconds for each, making 60,000 seconds. Also, for those of you buying the 6, I have a bonus for you. I have an online university where all these people I mentioned, John Maxwell, Brian Tracy, Grant Cardone, we did special courses. We taught on real estate, we taught on forex, we taught on crypto, we taught on how to make money from authoring books, e-commerce, all of that. In this Akintayo University is $247 every month that you pay for it. I'm giving you 1 month free access if you're buying all the 6 books. So I get $2.7 for food. I thought you would clap there. So if you can help me type all I've said, those buying one, what's the price? Those buying the 6, what's the price, and what's the bonus? If you can project it on the screen, it will be helpful. So those of you asking questions, quickly. Number one, I want our speakers can also join in if you want to add to any of answer any of the persons asking questions, please. Yes, number one is
Thank you, Doctor, for the opportunity. Very briefly, and you said something which is very commonly said in Cameroon. And as a financial model, I would like you to please just throw a little bit more light. Maybe we're seeing the same thing but differently expressed. So you said that actually it's the land that is appreciating, not the building. Yes, true, we're building or undergo something of depreciation because of the physical state and the functional state of it, right? But when you look at maybe like in an approach of appraising properties, like the cost approach, where you look at the net operating income and the cap rate and all of that, which actually changes with time. We see that buildings like this, for example, that commercial buildings, they could actually, there's some appreciation going on with the net operating income that is increasing. So my question to you is, will it be wrong for me to say that even though the building is depreciating because of the functional state and the physical state, but there's some appreciation of the building by virtue of the fact that this is that building is not. Thank you, sir.
a good question. So first of all, what we are saying, we're not saying the remember when we were talking about net operating income, the building stood on something.
Yes.
I get what I'm saying. The building stood on something. So what we're analyzing is not to say a building does not generate income, that's just generating income. But we're talking of capital appreciation, not rental income. Right? If you have a building, yes, you are getting rental income, and over time, the rental income increases because of inflation and even proximity of the location. Still going back to the land, giving it the reason why the rent is increasing, right? But the physical building itself keep losing value. Example is this one. The day they build a 5-star hotel, you now know that this has lost value. These people now have to drop their rates. I'm not making sense at all. And the only reason the rate drop is nothing but the fact that people now saw a new building that is new and the functionality is new and are willing to pay more for it. I'm not making sense at all. But if they were now to still sell this building because of the location, the value will still go up, even if rental income drops. Does it make sense what we're analyzing here? To tell you that the location in itself is the most critical. But what we're analyzing when we say it is land that appreciates, not the building, we're analyzing the capital appreciation. In other words, if we decide to sell the land, sell the building and the land, right? What makes people to pay more for it is the land, location of the land, not the building. Is it clear now? I know properties I'm buying in the US. I intend to demolish the entire house and then go for story. But I'm buying it because of the location of the land. So I'm only going to keep the building pending when I get permission, the permits to go for story. Does it make sense? But the real thing I'm buying is the land. Our new office in the US in Cali is $1.6 million. Now it's only 2 floors, right? But the reason why I bought it was not the 2 floor, is that it has a big land in front, and I intend to now build a 6-story office complex there. So that I'm having to pay that much was not because of the 2 floor where we currently operate from. It's the land opposite it that I can do and undo. And remember, when it's bare land, it's even more valuable because I'm not having to demolish, spend money to demolish and all of that. I can just from day one get approval and do what I want. Make sense? Number 2, which number 2?
Thank you for the opportunity. I'm very, professional consultant and over universities. And the person so that I know Nigeria a bit because we were privileged to be the tax lawyers of MLS when they bought German. And after that, when Mr. Dangote was to open his cement factory, we were privileged to assist in getting the tax incentives for the cement factory. Then it means seeing somebody from Nigeria coming to teach us, to share with us what you have gone through. I really appreciate it. I want to thank you for that opportunity. Also, for what you are doing, because having been to Nigeria several times, I've seen some leads in the wood industry, because that's where apart from that's what I'm trying to develop. And I think that yes, as you are rightly saying, if we African don't, we the African body will do it for us. And as you also said it is time for win-win partnership in Africa. And when we said it, I said, my coming to this meeting is fulfilled because when I saw the GenNext project in the USA and build the houses in Nigeria, I said, why this man source the wood flooring from? Where do we source the doors from? Where we saw the paneling from? Today I'm coming to say, please, that I'm ready for partnership. There are samples of what we can look from is wood from Cameroon. This for decking, outdoor decking. This is engineered flooring.
And we build, have we built a house from ground up like this?
Yes.
Are you willing to do a sample?
That
Like literally bring your man and build a 2-story with this from the beginning to the end as a sample? Are you willing to do that?
what I'm facing today is financing issues, but we have the raw material, we have developed expertise. Our wood flooring has fully compared to the US standards, National Flooring Association standards. And if it comes if we get the partnership, it will be easier for us to start the factory and supply everything it takes to build the house. Partnership.
You have to, I mean, this is about fact where you have to, because all these rules are also available in Nigeria. So it's a case of building a factory on one of our estates, but before we even do that, we have to figure out how to first build one, even if it's a 2-story, and see how it looks, and everybody comes, see it, and it looks great. And when that works, then we can then say, okay, let's build a factory on site and build an entire estate out, leveraging on something like this. It's at that point we can then attract international funding, right, to now build a large scale. Because every project in things like this is to prove, it's a case study, right? And once you've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, over time, the money for bigger things begins.
In the US, the market is already mature. The wood flooring market is 4 or 5 years.
Yes. Right, that can we do a sample? 2-story, he's the CEO anyway. So you guys should meet.
Okay.
Let's can do a sample. Man is ready. Clap for him. Means business.
All right, so thank you very much for the opportunity. My name is Daniel Prince. I'm a young startup buyer in Douala. So my question is based on the difficulty that I face with what you were saying in respect to upscaling the standards of what you deliver as a young entrepreneur. So when I started my company, I started, by the way, we have 4 different startups that we run under our Revenue Tech Group, which I'm the leader. So I started my company with I started my company with a branding agency where we deliver graphic designing, web development, quite functional right now, and I have more than 10 employees employed on that. Wow.
So only 10 employees, that's impressive.
So I have more than 10, I have around 21. Okay, on that. So when I started, my basic idea was if I want to succeed, I need to have a good marketing team and also a good branding team. Due to the fact that every business loves branding and every business needs to market for it to make sales. So during that time, I was just like, let me just have every deal that comes to my table, let me succeed with it. And from there, I started a second startup, which is a school, WebTech Academy, which we train in graphic designing, cybersecurity, web development, marketing, and printing mastery. So when I started now WebTech Academy, the next difficulty I encountered is the standard of what I could deliver. Because people, they already know that what I do, I just need the deals. So I'm now finding difficulties to, get people to accept the price I am giving to them. Because they already know that, okay, Daniel is someone who loves to help people, to help people succeed. So now I always have a difficulty sitting with them to negotiate deals for them to accept the price that I give to them.
Okay, so that's the question.
Yes.
The first question is at the level of having 21 employees, why are you the one negotiating deals? Right? It doesn't make any sense. You are supposed to have people on your behalf who are negotiating deals at this level. Number 2, one of the things you also want to do is if you want to become premium, let's say you move from freemium to premium, then you yourself have to become premium. Right? So I'll give you a practical example. I used to struggle to have people pay big money for my coaching program. And I realized it was because I have also not paid big money for coaching program too. Right? There's nobody I've paid top dollar. So the first thing we did, even me and my wife used to, then we went to this 2016, went to the US. And it cost over $25,000. As at that time, we were not this successful. It was hell. We did a boat cruise. Do you know, we came out saying we must make this money back home. First step, increase our money. And we then had the audacity to insist on it because we have also spent, some people collected plenty money from us who, they didn't even, they were not, some of them was video. One guy was to teach me how to publish my book, $1,000, just a soft copy video link. That's it. As me with then yeah, we can do VT with one client trying to coach you. I said no. So because we're able to pay somebody a lot more, internally, we felt we invested enough in ourselves to also be able to charge a huge amount of money. Does that make sense to you? And that was the beginning. This year, for example, I was at Grand Cardon's event. I did diamond ticket, $25,000, 3-day event. Not God, one man. Okay? And at that event, I paid for next year as well because they gave me discount. And I've already paid for next year's own. As I speak to you, I just got my admission letter from Harvard University's Founders Program, $150,000 for next year. If you want to clap, what are you doing? What's going on? Leadership is, I saw him do his hand like this. I was wondering, should I clap, should I not? Right? So, but because I invest those kind of money in myself, right? Do you agree with me? Now I charge $30,000 and I already feel that it's too low. I need to raise it high. Okay, am I making sense? So part of the deal now, I have a 3.3 acre. Next year, I want to start hosting people in my house for a house retreat. You know, my Rolls Royce will pick them from the airport, premium. So if you become premium, okay, you will charge premium. And that's what really needs to happen. Make sense? So begin to intentionally look for events you can go for that it will cost you money. Look for mentors you can pay, right? Because once you start paying that money, you feel confident to charge. But if everything you know is from YouTube and practice, right? And people too know that it was from YouTube now. And then you're not telling them, come and pay this, come and you're like, come on. What are you talking about? This is our YouTube. You learn now for YouTube. People now want us to be paying you big money. Eh?
Give us the link.
Exactly, give us the YouTube link. So, but when they start seeing, and sometimes be intentional, I became intentional about those things. I even do screenshot. You know, Grant Cardone, for example, I paid Grant Cardone over $250,000 to understand how real estate works in America. And it was part of what gave me the audacity of what I'm doing, because the guy controls over $4 billion worth of real estate assets. And I also know that if I run into trouble, I can go to him. Even in November, I'm going straight from Nigeria for a business conference with him and his team. So when you have people who are really ahead, and you also paid your dues, it's not come and help me without anything. You know how we often do, come and help me, come and help me. Come. When you know, as I was making money, I'm also spending with you. You even have the audacity to dream big things, knowing that if you run into crisis, you can rush to that same mentor and they can guide you. And you also be able to brag to people and say, hey, what I'm teaching is no longer just YouTube stuff. Okay, I'm also enjoying some customized knowledge that you need. Make sense? I hope I've answered you. Yes. Do one thing that I know will change your life today. Whatever, when I'm signing your book for you, make sure somebody helps you take picture and post and say, I just met a billionaire, and you watch how people start treating you. It's about perception. Brands are all on brands. Right? Some of them people start writing right there, say, I say you're on your way to billion, say yes. Right? And let them know you can't charge me anyhow. You can't be pricing me anyhow again. Because I now go with billionaires. Well, me, this man will teach you more. He has used my name to make billions. He will mentor you more. Yeah, number 4. Number 4.
Krystal Body, that's my name. I'm going to ask a question that people usually speak behind, that are bold enough to ask here. And it has to do in line with networking and creating partnership. We need partnership, especially when it comes to people of, administration, hire. There's a lot of courtesy at a certain level over here. And it's not secret, it's more in Nigeria. African Magic tells us that. And I know I met a businessman in Cameroon who's had issues with his business. His ship kept capsizing or burning. The last time he, like 30 people died. And we went to pay the visit, and people asked him, well, are you sure you're not in the cult? Why are all these things happening to you? And he said, it's because I refuse to join the brotherhood. That's why all of this is happening. So my question, how do you make this kind of partnership, network, people that can facilitate things for you at the top, when we know how dangerous the top is without getting into trouble?
So first of all, he refused to join the brotherhood. He has to join something. You see, it's important to know that everybody is using something. If you don't use something, they will use it for something. Right? So he cannot claim he doesn't want to join brotherhood and he did not join something. Right? I'm a Christian and I carry my faith on my head. Right? On my head. Right? Tongue speaking, anointing oil using, demon chasing. Right? Yeah, exactly. Scripture quoting. I carry it on my head. So the day you are an occultic person, you meet me, you already know where I stand. Am I making sense at all? So there are certain things you cannot even be bringing my way. It's just normal. And let me tell you the truth, value is value.
Yeah.
Nobody cares who brought the value. Right? If you have great value to offer people, they respect that value and they respect you for it. So the problem is when you are nowhere, you are just in the middle. Right? They have issues with you. Which cult is Dangote in? But people know he's a strong Muslim guy. He doesn't joke with his, prayers. Even in private jet, Dangote is praying. Right? And he has several affairs who pray, Ya Allah, Ya Allah, Ya Allah. So when people know you and you know where you stand, they respect you for that. But the point is, you don't stand anywhere, and we say you come and join our own, and then you say you are not joined, then let's show you how life is. Right? Does that make sense?
A lot of sense.
But do you also notice that all you are saying is they said? Yeah. Why not get to the top? Yes, sir. First. Yes? And you prove to people that you don't need to join it, like I am. It makes sense?
A lot of sense.
So don't listen to every word he's not making. I sleep like a baby. I did not mix anything with what I'm doing. Nothing. And that's why I'm bold as a lion. Trust me. If you don't, bold as a lion. People have brought charm, and I told them with their charm they went underground. Yes. Yes. But it's because I know the day that I know their God, they shall be strong and they shall do exploit. I know my God, and I'm not playing games. I know him, and if you meet him, ask him. He will tell you, Stephen, my guy. Yes, sir. Yes. Easy one to add. Yes.
My view on this, and I'm not going to call it fetish or superstitious thoughts. Can you guys hear me pretty well?
Yes.
I have a weird view on this, and it's not from a place of ignorance. We have something in common. We're both born in White Garment Church. My father is 84. He's been in White Garment Church for the past 16 years. He's not a strong member. I carried Dada. I don't know Dada. Till I was 12. I was telling somebody that if I want to see vision, I will see vision. I also stayed off church, and this is not something to be proud of. For maybe 15 years to the last 4 years, I was almost free thinking. So I've seen inside, I've seen outside. I grew up, I shared stories. I grew up in places where they said, don't enter this room. Right. But I can come to the fact and look at it and say, wait, is there no science to this thing we're calling superstition? I was telling somebody that I'm waiting, of recent technology is showing there is a guy in the US that has an app for the fact, when you go to your land, when you go to, when you go to, when they throw things on the ground in African religious worship, if you're not Nigerian, I don't know what other people is, this thing that African when they throw things on the ground and they look at it, carries, and they tell your destiny. Yeah. Or maybe think it's African. When you go to like India and they hold your palm and you read your palm. And they're all right. I read mathematics. Since I left school 14 years, I've been in class over and over again. I have multiple master's degree, over 10 certifications. And I read this thing that algorithms. Let's not let anybody not come and be acting like you see, mystery is what they're using to shield it. The first unit of this thing you're calling secret society is ecosystem.
Yeah, exactly.
It's ecosystem. It's circles. Because you're having discussion about this thing. We don't know about diabolism, all our fetish, all of this. We have not still created something that can fly. We cannot still teleport. Right? Americans have created things. What are they belonging to? And I'm not saying that they are not powerful. I'm just saying we're overrating that power because we're looking at it outside in.
Yes.
In one German church, I'll tell you something that I can crack that code of their Elijah that they do and they start shaking. Because yeah, see, my mom sister does it tomorrow. If I off music, she cannot shake anything. There's a science. See, even your speaking in tongues has a science. If you think you're lying, tell you can't speak in tongues, you're strong. It's all Christianity. You can't speak in tongues. There's a science to it, and it's called hypothesis at this level. So I don't go end to end, but I'm digging deep. Something I want to educate myself. This thing has science. Let's understand. Because when you have the science, you can now reverse engineer. You know how China beats America, and how Japan beats America in the something called the 70s and 80s, the Japanese invasion of the American system, where Japanese products chased out American products in American soil, like Toyota beat Ford. Right?
Yeah.
Sony PlayStation is beating Xbox.
Yeah.
Microsoft, right? Every category, Japanese will beat America in their products. Japanese did not create Toyota, did not invent cars. The people that invented cars were Henry Ford, American cars. But Ford cars are not better than Toyota or Honda. What they do is what they call reverse engineering. They understand how these guys did it. Know the in and out, know their brain, and work back. It's called reverse engineering. Chinese do it. Chinese see original product, take their factory, they scatter it. They try to assemble it back. That's how they learn it. I want to scatter this thing back, policy critical, scatter it, understand. The first thing I'm seeing by nature of my work, I see billionaires in dollars as clients who say they don't believe in anything. Then the one time they try, I want to see, there's a particular person me and you know that every once a year, this guy goes for 3 weeks. I want to know where he goes for 3 weeks. I want to know. And I found out when the guys go, I'm like, come, this thing you are doing is the same thing that we Christians are calling meditation and affirmation. And see, what you see in Christianity, see, attention, then come back to the center. Obviously, they moved affirmation. You know, at the end of church, when they say affirmation, they write chants. It's chants, and then I say it's chants. Isn't it chants in that boys were doing in university as cultists? It's not chants. Yeah, I don't know. Everybody in Nigeria school, chants is what they used to do in cultism. I say, guy, all these things that are all running around a circle. The first unit I've come to realize is do not try to stand alone. Because the advantage they have and you stand together. You see, in the 70s and 80s in Nigeria, the Ogboni movement was the most powerful movement in this country. The Ogboni movement was strong, and it's not like it's still not strong. Right? The fundamental is that if you take any member's money, they will summon you. Is the fact that there is a circle. That is in Nigeria called the inner circle. Inner circle. Just this collection of guys that we see, no matter how we be, right? We are all tied together. If anything happens, if one person goes down, see, if all of us, if we are 20 and we all have 50 million, and all of a sudden somebody's business fall, that's 1 out of 50. Right? All of us will come together and say, okay, let's drop 5 million. Let's start the game. That's the main secret code.
Yeah.
That's it. It's that thing that is the main secret code. The Jewish people, the Jewish phenomenon is this thing. You see, I was telling this was going to be black. Blacks in America are struggling. Any black that hits $1 billion capitalization, they bring him down.
Yes.
And I'm not trying to justify, and there is no, see, blacks are forming gangs in America, which gangs in America, Tupac and Biggie, they kill themselves in their 20s. Gangster. You want to go to the American gangster? It's the Italian mafias, the Chinese mafias. It's not the why. It's not I'll kill you, nigga. You don't kill anybody. You build, and I said, do you know, the Jewish people are untouchable in America because they are connected. First, you create a great product. 2, you create distribution. Then 3rd, you create ecosystem. It's the 101 of building an empire. You create Apple first created great products. The iPhone, the iTouch, the iPod, right? The iCloud. And then the other eye you want to add. There's the job guide. Then you know what Tim Cook brought after the job guide? He brought distribution. The biggest distribution chain is Apple. Like stores everywhere, circles everywhere. For movie, they distributed movies through iTunes. For data, they distribute through iCloud. We're all connected. iPhone. Look, you lose your iPhone now, you buy the iPhone. You lose your iPhone in Cameroon, you go to Dubai, you buy an iPhone. In the next few minutes, all your photos, your pictures, your thing come back. It's distribution. Even your product, your content is distributed across the world. It's distribution. Then the last thing you do is create ecosystem. And this ecosystem we're calling cults. ecosystems were all connected. So if we have 20 of us and we're very wealthy, we also say, okay, 20 of us just wealthy, but this thing is called money, power, respect, the triad of greatness. Money, power, respect, okay, all we have is money, and that's a very bad place to go. If you have money, you have power in this Africa, they will deal with you.
Yeah.
See, it's not that accident that the richest people in Nigeria use money to buy power. If you know, you know. Tipping. Right? Money is not that important in Africa. Power is more important. So somebody, 20 of us say, so are you saying that 20 of us don't have anybody in politics? Or yeah, one of you come and find somebody, let's finance you in politics. So that if anybody bring us down, we have somebody in Senate. You come from, you don't have anybody military, come from, you join military. This is what the real system of ecosystem which called court is. Right? God, one of us, go and find one major tier one church pastor or even herbalist that will protect us spiritually. That's the main cult. Let's not act like this cult thing is something that, because when you don't know it, you demystify it. You mystify it. Demystify it's not that deep. Create the system. Blacks are going through hell. Look, I was telling somebody about this Diddy. You guys know what's going on with Diddy now. Diddy's in jail. Diddy is the poster boy of, and Jay-Z has been very quiet. And there's a reason why Jay-Z is quiet. Because at the cover, Diddy, you cover. Do you know the history? Yes, the guy did a lot of immoral things, the freak offs, the blah blah blah. But do you want to know people who did worse were whites? Do you want to know? See, there are people who did worse than R. Kelly did, and they're walking the face of this earth. There are people that did worse, but you see, blacks, they'll go and bring out your fire. You know they bring your fire because they're standing alone. Diddy, I was telling you, Diddy. Okay, so you threw private parties, right? And federal charge on state problem. You know that like the world, as things change, everything remains the same. It's the same thing we do in Nigeria, where SARS can come and catch you for you owing you money, even though it's a civil case. It's misuse of power. But I said, wait a second, what's going on there? The real history about it is this guy built empires and bringing out stuff from 20 years ago that he did. And there's no explanation for laying your hands on another person, whether male or female. Then, especially if it's female, so this question is not in any way justifying it. But let's be real with ourselves. You think if the Ciroc issue did not happen with Diageo, you think they'll be chasing him? Do you know the real story behind Diddy? He had built a big empire from, you guys know Diageo? Diageo is in over, how many countries of the world do we have? There are over 150 countries. They're one of the most powerful establishments in the world. They are the ones that own Guinness. There's no country you go to in Africa, there's no Guinness. There's no way you go to the world, there's no Guinness. So when you step on those toes, they bring out your fire. But you know, it's easier to don't bring out your fire when you two have systems. The guy is standing, see, let me tell you how bad it is. Diddy will be in jail, nobody will even visit him because they don't want to near him too much. Let them not bring out their own fire. That's the main problem. And so you see this small thing we're doing here, billionaire habits, small circles, creating our own circles. You create a circle, you hold yourself together, you're tied like a chain. When people want to attack you, you know the first thing they look, who are you behind you? If there's nobody behind you, see, when we stand as Christians, judge of the person behind us. And you want to stand alone, they will deal with you. So we have to come together, and I hope this makes sense to you guys. Thank
you very much, Ido. I don't know if we should leave you or go for another question. Thank you very much. We've asked the next question. Okay. Yes. You can direct to you.
Good day, my name is Tui Nadesh. I have a small factory. Yeah. So my question is financing. We need a lot of people that have, we think that we know that have money, but there was not crack the code. You say when we meet rich people, we should give them. But what's the code on how to ask? What's the approach on how to ask for money or how to present? I don't know which book of yours will you recommend for us to read to know how to ask for money, funding for our business.
Okay, you want to respond to that, sir?
Yeah.
Okay, sir.
So basically, the question is which book to know how to raise funding. So I think the question is wrong, right? Once you come from that angle of which book do we ask, it comes from a beggarly perspective, right? And you've lost already. You know, life is all about negotiation, right? You must come from the perspective, that's why we talked about win-win. I want to add value to you. Are you getting my point now? However, for me to add this value, can you invest this much? Do you see how you look at it? That is the angle you look at things from. Example, I'm raising $200 million at the moment, and I've come from the perspective of, hey, one, you can buy an acre from me in one of my estates in the US. Two, you can invest minimum $20,000 and I'll be giving you X returns on a yearly basis or every 18 months. Does that make sense? Now, how does this sound like what she just said? You see the difference? And are you aware that it's the same? It's the same. So that's the first thing that needs to get out, right? The mindset of how do I ask for money? How do I beg for money? You are not begging. You must sit down and say, this thing I'm doing, okay? If somebody gives me X amount of money, how much will I be able to give them back and still have a good returns for myself? Does this make sense at all? And once you can present a document on that, and you then start talking, it's law of average, right? You then start telling everybody, this is it, oh, this is what I have, oh, this is what I'm doing, oh. And the more you do it, it's law of average. At some point, people will show up. I'll give you an example. I had a meeting early this year in Port Harcourt, and it was just for 25 people, 25 people. And I was talking about a US project. I could not believe it when one person in that meeting, in fact, the least dressed person in that meeting, the next day sent $200,000 for a US project. Wow. The least dressed. So it's not by look. Yeah. Okay. So my job is to keep presenting the value that I have and the returns I was going to give people when they what? Invest. Does that make sense at all? And then keep doing that, and gradually people keep coming. And don't stop until you get what you are looking for. Change strategy, change approach, repackage the proposal so that it looks good, because it's also about perception, right? But keep talking about it, keep making the calls, keep doing your webinars, keep doing your presentations, and gradually it will come together. Make sense? I hope I've answered you. Good. Yeah, Mara wants to add.
Okay, so for the first thing I have issue with is your introduction. Your business is not small. Okay, so no matter what you call it, that's the word people will call it until you accept. What I think you need to do is to understand your business. I was sharing with some people the other time that one of the things you want to do is to understand the supply chain of your business, to know where the money is. And I was sharing with those guys and I said, okay, people are into real estate. Do you know that a lot of people do tons of millions of dollars and they are not even doing building? They're not building houses. Yeah. So it means that there is actually a part in your business that the wealthy people are looking out for. So you have to now look at those places and pull up. You know, my pastor was sharing with us the other time, a lady who is into fashion, and she makes a lot of money in UK, not even sewing cloth, but she just does the buttonhole and the button. So imagine all the top fashion houses in UK bringing all the so-called clothes that they've sewn. It just brings it to her plate because she has just identified a particular niche in that framework that a lot of people need. So you are big, no matter how small you're starting. Number two, what is so valuable that anyone that sees this business would like to put money on, then you also package, like you said, around value. So that whenever they see, they say, okay, this too juicy to look away from. So you are big.
To answer your question, the billionaire habits and billionaire code addresses them. The next person, because of time, we're going to play golf. So we are running out of time. So quickly ask your question so we can.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. My name is Mariam Elizabeth. I am an adjourned lecturer. At the same time, I run a fashion business with my sister for the last 6 years or so. So to permit me shift away from real estate.
Cameroon for free, it cost me money to fly here, it cost me money to pay for hotel. So yeah, I want to give back, but it's fair that even if I won't make profits, at least can I make what I spent? Am I making sense of all? So because I've also lost time that I could have put in my business to come and share. So that is just what needs to change. Stop this general free advice from people who have not turned their lives around, poor people like to give advice that has not helped them, but they are hoping to help you, right? So stop that. Go to people who have gotten the result, who have the result, and emulate them. Yeah, it's not going to be full, but that's where to start from. As for digital marketing and promoting your business online, you have to think of a unique angle to it. You know, viral video is your solution. So I'll give you an example. Somebody went viral with a fashion business by doing something unique. She started a 3D runway videos, right? So it's, instead of normal runway that every human being, this time around is digital runway, where the same clothes but worn by something animated are put together now, and then moves and moves and moves, and you can buy. One, she went viral. More people started following her because she invented that kind of concept, particularly during COVID. Number two, she sold more of her clothes as well. So you want to say, which angle do I need to start shooting video from? Right? What angle, what perspective? I had to fly in a gentleman costing us a lot, of course, son of the prophet, just for this event. Even though I already have a lot of media guys who work for me and all that, but I love the way he just edits his stuff, the angle, the pattern. And as much as it's going to cost me money to bring him, I mean, again, that's what Mr. Femi was saying. It's ridiculous that it's 1.9 million to come to Cameroon that is just 1 hour. The economy ticket doesn't make any sense. In fact, I remember saying to my team, I said, if you guys had given me this budget earlier, we'll have cancelled the Cameroon retreat. Because it was cheaper to go to Doha and do this retreat, and we'll have better ambience, better, even the hotel. This hotel is more expensive than the Doha hotel. Can you imagine that? Right? So we just make things difficult. But I also look at it that if this guy is able to come out, chunk out better videos, are we together now, from these particular retreats, right? Instead of about 50 people that we had that came for the retreat, next one in Kenya, we're looking at over 200, which is the target, right? Are we together now? Even though for me, I intentionally measure this year and the first half of next year, we want to focus on Africa. So we had done Ghana earlier, because this retreat used to hold in Maldives, Dubai, and all that. But I just felt we need to also tour Africa. We need to visit Africa and begin to strike partnerships, you know, because, hey, each visit add value to those economy. Are we together now? Our visit now has added value to what? To the Cameroon economy, right? So intentional, next year as well, we'll start with Kenya, then but we'll still do Doha, you know, but at least I feel my conscience that I've done, you know, more African countries as well. But to your answer, look for an angle, right? If you have seen the video of my arrival to Cameroon, the way he edited it, it was mega. Yeah, you saw it. Yeah, right. Yes, it was a different angle. Even one of the videos was also yesterday's event, where everybody was coming one by one. It was a different feel, and when you see today's event as well, it just has a different feel to it. So that's the angle you want to come. Look for a very, very crazy videographer, right? Please note this and write this down. Every CEO in this age must not joke with the following: videographer, photographer, video editor, graphic designer, right? Right, and your web guy. I mean, you must have them person. The company, like in my case, GTS Holding has their own, but I have my own guys for me who document my own journey, my own story, and what I'm doing aside what the company is doing. Does that make sense at all? Because that is really how the brand grows. That's how the business grows. It's people seeing what you're doing, seeing your movement, seeing your pattern, and then begin to place premium. And I answered that gentleman's question as well. Nobody will place premium on your brand if they don't see your moves. We used to have an era where they say, don't tell anybody where you are going. Some witches in your village will be after you. We are now in an era where you must tell them, else they don't value your time. Nobody will place premium on your time until they see your itinerary. Today now, when people approach you by themselves, they will say, we know you are busy, sir. Right? But we want to beg you, out of your, can you consider us? Does that make sense at all? Now, if I have not posted my itinerary, you didn't say we know you are busy. They'll say, please come and speak for us. So day, including friends. And some of them will be angry with you because you couldn't come. But in their mind, why didn't you come? And the reason I say, why did you come? Because we didn't see you go anywhere. We feel you have been indoor. Okay? But as you start documenting your journey, and Tommy said something, some of you just trivialize it. Right? And she's right. My brand has grown the last 7 years because intentionally, as I tell you my stories, yeah, I knew few people would think he talks too much, is this, but I tell people there's methodology to my madness. Right? There's nothing I do that does not have a science behind it, including when I look for somebody's trouble, it's intentional. Right? If you are close to me enough, come and ask me, what is the methodology to that madness? Okay, but that is where we are now in the day of social, particularly for those of us who don't have huge financial backup. We don't have a big person bankrolling us. Are we learning at all? We don't have one politician somewhere. So it means you have to leverage on people watching you to be convinced about your story and to be willing to invest with you. Every day, and this is no exaggeration, there's no day that passes that at least I don't get 10 people saying, I have $50,000 to invest, can you help me? I have $100,000 to invest, can you help me? There's no day. And it was intentionally crafted. Right? Make sense? I intend to be the highest person who has raised funding for his business, okay, through syndication or crowdfunding. That's my goal. And I'm targeting $1 billion. The day will come, I'll tell you, I have been able to raise $1 billion from social media. Where people they saw me first on social media, and then they started investing in my business. That's really where we're going. So we're not trying to show off. I don't know most of the people who follow me. I have over 1 million on IG, and many of them, trust me, they need deliverance, right? So I'm not doing anything to show off, but I know out of that 1 million, there are the critical ones who are ready for me. I'm making sense at all, ready to invest. The message resonates with them. They believe, what I am doing will go a long way in helping their lives and business. And those are the ones I'm sent for. But guess what? We need to attract the crowd and then sieve out the important ones out of them. Make sense? Last person, so that will go. Yes. No, you are not on the list. But I want to sneak your way into it.
Suggestion?
Yeah. He's the last person. There is no suggestion. The last person. Because except you don't want to play God, those of you came for the retreat.
Thank you so much. To add the last question. I'm not sure it's the last. My name is Solomon Atta. I'm based in Johannesburg. I'm in real estate, investment, and logistics. So my question is more about, I don't know if it's a question, but it's more about your advice on, there is an observation that, and that observation can be completely wrong, that there is difficulty in collaborating. And I've watched some mentors like yourself mention that it's better to own 1% of a lot than to own 100% of nothing. So what is your advice specifically in this era with regards to collaboration within or amongst entrepreneurs? because some other observations have also shown that the more there is deliberate collaboration, the more value can be placed on the table for people like yourselves for consideration. Because sometimes perhaps the value is not sufficient to draw your attention, but if it was collaborative value, then it is now worthy of your time, and of course, people that you also know. So in essence, how can you advise on collaboration in this era where singular efforts seem like drops in the ocean?
Good question. So
Thank you.
I will answer you in a quite different from the way you asked the question. And I need to understand that I get what you're asking, but I think what you need to ask is, how do I become a better salesman? Right? Because if you are good at selling, then you gradually on your own have some level of skill. And that level of skill will now get the attention of bigger players. Does that make sense at all? So example, for me to expect, one of the model I'm using is that of Grand Cardone. Today, Grand Cardone now has basketball players, NFL players, music artists who just call him, hey, or GC, they call him, right? I got 20 million for you. He was, oh, why it? Oh, GC, I got 100 million for you. Right? GC, I got, do you get my point? But GC did not start with those caliber of people who can drop 100 million at once. It started by marketing and say, hey, you have $5,000, I'm doing this real estate deal, right? Oh, yeah, everybody, bring your $5,000, right? And gathering all those $5,000, and then does the first deal, right? And then the second deal, and then the fourth deal. And right now, he has over 14,000 properties, 14,000 units. So at this point, it's easy, and of course, his name is everywhere. And he was strategic as well. Started doing events, he would bring 50 cents, he would bring, in fact, the first one I went for, he brought Donald Trump. And he made Donald Trump a secret guest. He said, in fact, Donald Trump said, when he told him, you know what it means? You know, he met Donald Trump. He said, Donald Trump, I'd like you to speak at my event, 10X, but I don't want anybody to know. Donald Trump said, oh, that's the first. Typically, everybody wants to put me like, because I will bring the crowd. He said, that's the first. It's okay. So we noticed, we just saw the security, right? Secret service everywhere as we came for the event. I mean, they were checking. What was going on? By the time we entered, ladies, people were mad. Donald Trump, first speaker at a conference. It was, am I making sense at all? And he's hosted, you know, name it. Why the last one, Wyclef John, intentionally. So he started bringing those guys, Floyd Mayweather, he first started bringing them to speak for him. And before you know it, who is following Grand Cardone. And now he's able to even go to BlackRock now and say, I have this project, I need $1 billion, I need this. Because now he's already controlling over $4 billion worth of assets, real, tangible, with cash flow, right? So the first thing is start to master selling at the unique level. Am I making sense at all? In the next 10 years, I can assure you, it would be an insult to come to me and say you want to give me $5 million to invest. You have to go to the staff with due respect. Right? Am I making sense at all? And his intention, I write it down today because when it happened, you remember you heard it. Because it's not mistake, it's an intentional plan working on. Okay, so the everyday getting people say, I have 50,000, I have 100,000. We now change to I have $100 million, I have $20 million, I have $50 million. Hey, which of your project can I put it in? But you must first master starting from saying, okay, can I convince people in Cameroon to invest 50,000 francs, right? CFA into my business, but because I then need 5 million CFAs, right? I then divide the 50 times 5 million divided by 50. What does that give us? 100, I mean. So 500. 5 million divided by 50,000. What does that give us? 100. So I know that I need 100 investors for that project. You see how you divide these things now? And then you keep shouting to the rooftop, disturbing everybody, messaging, there's no shame, right? Disturb everybody, you know, this is what we are doing, this is how we are doing. And guess what? There are some people, when I first announced our US project, who ignored me. Some didn't ignore, but were like, hey, give us some time. Am I making sense? And you must also understand this, the way to sequence it. But we went on. But do you know, until some of them saw the video of my house, right? People were asking, hey, wait, do you still have something I can invest in? You see, so you must also know the psychology of the people you are dealing with. You must know their psychology. Because I could have bought a house and leave it like that. I got a drone guy, do the drone, right? And let's put it out there. So that in itself, in the new phase, because we now have 4 different projects, we're adding more next year. More people are now reaching out because they can see the progress, right? He announced from 1 project, now it's 4 projects. The way this guy is going, I really have to be involved in one way. I've had people tell me that, look, I just felt I needed to be part of this story, right? I needed to. If I have one of them here, who literally couldn't afford the first unit of investment, if you clap for him, you know, stand up and send me $1,000 to start with. So that's how to do with he runs his real estate business and consider me a mentor. And he saw me shouting, I need money, I need money. And you know, everybody should invest. And at some point, I may not be able to, I think it was 10,000 minimum then. I don't have 10,000 that I can just put into this project, but here is a seed of $1,000 or something. Thank you, I appreciate that. Meant a lot to me. So, but that's how you do it. Some who now didn't respond to that, are we together now? You've shown some track record. You can now see, oh, from that one, there's now an office already standing, there's now this. Okay, we are pushing the phase 2 now of fundraising again, and we're definitely getting a better response than we got the first time. And that's how you phase it out and gradually, but the time will now come, you're not a monster, right? And it's not a privilege for people to invest with you. They will literally even beg you for it. Make sense? Thank you, guys. Any final word from our speakers? You're good? Okay. You have something to say? No. Okay. So thank you for coming. Please bring your book so I can sign it for you. We coordinated our movement to the golf course. If you are not part of the retreat, we excuse you. We excuse you. Okay, the golf course express for those who are part of the retreat, okay? But who is coordinating our movement for the retreat, please? Yes. For those of you who want to sign your book, just take a cue to your house. You can bring your book and take a cue. Attend to you. As if I look for Joshua, who is there? Somebody has to inform us how we are going for the golf course. Move faster, young man Joshua, move faster. Pastor, those people already going now. How do they
know? Please, for those of us who came for the retreat, we're going in batches. For all staff, we're going to, as we have been going during the retreat, in about 4 cars. Sorry, I very just follow up. Okay, for staff, we are going in 4 cars, 4 to 5 cars like we've been doing. And for participants, we have available 3 cars. Who will go drop people and come back and pick them up. But for some, we can use Yango. Right, so that's it.
I need to get a boss.
Sir? So it's not available. Right. Alpha, let me drop it. What's my phone number?
No, dude.
That's my small house. Here, sometimes you came by this.